I am impressed with this squirrel's cleverness because it's backing off from the corn cobs, seemingly to get a better view as to how it could reach them. You know, it's interesting. How many times would it help us to back off from something to get a broader view or view from, further away, so we're getting more of the whole picture instead of just a concentrated little area? But we don't do it. At least I find that's a problem for me sometimes. I don't want to move back from whatever I'm working on and get a broader view. But gee whiz, this squirrel knows that it helps it, so it can sort of figure out, better angle to approach the corn cob, which is the problem. How does it approach the corn cob to get a kernel off without getting thrown down onto the ground? Because it understands that the thing turns, or when it puts weight on it, it moves. Pretty interesting, really. Hey, I've been standing here, I think, close to 2 hours, turning the video on and off, trying to get a picture of one of the squirrels getting thrown off. And I have a feeling that they're too smart for that. So this is a different squirrel than was in the other video. This is a smaller, lighter weight squirrel. So it's finding that it can grab those kernels and it doesn't cause the turner to turn as much because it doesn't weigh as much as the other squirrel. I still think, though, that one of these times they're bound to make a miscalculation. Of course, it probably only needs to happen once, and then the squirrel will learn from it. I have seen squirrels hang by their back legs from something. So I think that if these guys were to start to get flipped off, they could probably hang on with their back legs. In the previous video, the squirrel that was kind of investigating all over it, the larger squirrel, I noticed that it even tried to grab the corn cob in its mouth. But, of course, the corn cob is screwed in, so it couldn't just grab it and take it away. So something that I've been wondering about is I notice that whatever squirrel is up there, it will eat some from one side, and then when it gets too difficult, it goes to the other side. And, I'm wondering if it's got some sort of a strategy there, or if there's just something in its brain that says, okay, this one's not working, find another one. Or if it somehow realizes that the two sides need to be kept balanced out. Of course, if it ate all from one side, then that would cause the thing to swing around. But I think that it would take a lot more experience for the squirrels to, keep feeding on this and seeing what it does before they might be able to figure out how best to work it. Because it is obvious from watching squirrels on those maze kind of things and obstacle course things that you see on YouTube that they do learn to a certain extent. So yeah, this has been very, very interesting to watch. And even though I've been hoping that one of them would get flipped off of the whole tourney thing, what I'm realizing is that, gosh, I thought, oh, that would be fun, to see that happen. And of course, squirrels land, very easily. They do really well falling. They're able to sight where they want to go, and their body goes that way, and they can position themselves so they don't get hurt. So, I wanted to see that sort of thing, but instead I've been seeing just some really interesting behavior and kind of different moves that the squirrels have, and their coordination, and oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Okay, we may be on our way for a little amusement park ride for the squirrel here. We'll see. I'll leave the video on for a little bit longer because this is new. None of them have done this yet, actually sort of climbed onto the turning mechanism. So eventually, this squirrel is going to be faced with a dilemma of how does it get the kernels at the very ends of the cob. Of course, and I know that the squirrel can hang upside down. We see squirrels do that all the time. They can climb up the tree head first, climb down head first. They're able to cling to things really, really well with their little paws and, of course, with their teeth. So, but then, a person might if a squirrel was a person, the squirrel would probably be thinking, okay, now, instead of just doing this until this doesn't work anymore, what would be the best way to do this for the most difficult possible situation I could run into? And, I guess it just kind of makes me feel like, well, maybe we sort of put a lot of stress on ourselves by trying to figure out the best way rather than, if something works, just going ahead and doing it. And then when it stops working, then we'll figure something else out. If we get to that point, have you ever noticed that? Whoa, okay, fun. All right, so now what is it going to do? Of course, it cannot get onto it from the bottom, so it always has to climb up the back of the tree or the side and approach it from the top. And that blue stuff is very slick. It's poly lumber. So, all right, has the squirrel learned anything? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Here it comes again. It's approaching from the top, which they've all figured out is the best way. Oh, I wish it would just jump for it, but it knows that it'll turn. Okay, so we're turning. Are we turning past the point of no return? All right, so is the squirrel going to eat upside down or what? Oh, this is so cool. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Now, how is it going to get back up to the top? Or is it going to? Huh, how about that? Okay, so it's a little bit harder to get the corn kernels, but it's discovered that it can kind of crawl around. The little shelf it's sitting on actually has another little shelf underneath it. It is slippery, but still, it can, gain some purchase with its feet. While we're waiting, here's, oh, they flew away. Oh, no, there it is. Tufted titmouse. There we go. The tufted titmouse has come to visit. The other one's in the bush right there. Very nice. They're getting some food. And there is Mr. Squirrel again. Mr., Mrs., possibly Ms. Okay. All right, come on, squirrel. Get another one. Okay, so I know it's going to keep working at it till it finds something that works out well. Oh, that's a tufted titmouse. There was a reflection so that I couldn't see its little crest there, or tuft on top of its head. Okay, squirrel, we're waiting for you. Okay, so the squirrel is still there. I don't know, possibly considering the problem. Now we have a chickadee, Carolina chickadee, wearing its black cap. Okay, I think here we go again. What's gonna happen? Okay, squirrel, you can turn that thing if you want to. But I guess it's not within the squirrel's experience to realize that it can take its little hand or paw and push it around. Like, it knows that it can push it down and up. Well, at least one of the squirrels knows that, because in the very beginning it was doing that. But maybe this guy isn't the same one. Okay, come on. I'm waiting for you. Okay. My favorite bird. It's a Carolina wren. I love them. They're so cute with their eyeliner. Yeah. Okay, squirrel again. All right, so look, it's learning to stand on the center orange thing that turns, and that corn cob seems like it's balancing itself. Yep. Okay, this is really interesting. Now the question is, will it lose its balance? How's it going to get from there when it's done eating to where it wants to go next? Wow, it's got really good balance. It's just, it's sitting basically on the, the pivot point in such a way that it's not turning. I'm impressed, Mr. Squirrel, or Mrs. or Ms. Okay, finish that corn kernel. I want to see what you're going to do. Oh, whoa, okay. That's what I was waiting for. Okay, so now it knows it can twirl around, but it doesn't have to fall off. This is good. Okay. Now we know this squirrel has learned that it's got a skill. It knows somehow or another instinctively how to hold on even when the thing turns around. All right. And now it's figured out how to reach around to get corn kernels off of that bottom cob. It knows that it can twist its body around that center pivot, and it doesn't have to fall off. Excellent work. And just one last thing. What if we learned from the squirrel? Try different ways to do things. And then, when you find a way that works, practice.